Hey y'all, it's Stephen Van Kampen-Lewis on March 27th, and today I want to talk about repotting Cattleya seedlings. I'm going to look at Cattleyas in particular because that's what I grow, but these techniques can be used for just about any Cattleya that you're putting, any Cattleya seedling that you're putting in bark. So, it is spring, everything's growing, at least here in Texas, and I had repotted 4 of these before I realized that, hey, there's probably other people out there that are doing the same thing. So I'll make a video about the final 2 seedlings that I have, and they're right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and set this camera up so that it's kind of facing down on my hands, and I'll kind of talk y'all through it. So real quick, before we get started, these are the 2 seedlings that I will repot. This is Cattleya purpurata, and this is Cattleya labiata. So let's get started. All right, as I said before, I've got these 2 Cattleyas here, and we're gonna pot these guys up. And there's a couple of reasons. So first of all, let me say that these could probably stay in here for at least another season. So if you like to grow your Cattleya seedlings in this type of media, I would recommend you just leave it and let them grow as is. For me and my conditions though, I really prefer clay pots. So I got these over the winter, and they've grown nicely, but essentially I want to get these into the media and the pot that I know works best for my conditions. So let's get started. So first thing I like to do is pull them out of the pot gently and take a look. So a few things that I notice immediately are good healthy roots and some tiny ants. I don't know if you guys can see those, but there's some little tiny ants running around there on the styrofoam, and then these root tips look great. So they're growing. Ideally, you're going to repot your orchids when the root tips are just starting, but seedlings are a little more forgivable. Here's another great root tip right here. So I'm pretty brutal when it comes to my adult Cattleyas, but I'm very gentle for the young ones because they don't have much in the terms of energy stores in their bulbs, and as you can see, the root systems are not huge. So I like to be a little nicer with them than I am with my adults. So here is a pot. I like to have a little bit of eco web over the bottom so that the media does not fall out. And then of course I like to add the media. So for this, what I like to do is use seedling bark. So it's this orchiata mixed with perlite. Perlite is the white stuff, and it just adds space between them, between the particles. So I'll take my clay pot here, and I'll add, maybe about half full of the seedling mix. And then I'll just take this guy, and I'll make sure that the newest, largest growth, which is this one, is facing the middle. And I will gently push this to the back here, and I'll just kind of sit it there. And I've mentioned in my other videos how important it is to keep your plants stable and sturdy in the same spot. So what I do is I like to take a zip tie and zip tie these guys in place. Now a lot of other people will use other things like a little piece of bamboo, and that can work. You know, you throw the bamboo in there and then you attach the plant to it. Or you can get your zip tie to go up the middle here and actually zip tie the plant in place, so it is not going to go anywhere. And this is what I do a lot of time for my adults, and certainly for the seedlings. And so what I now have is a plant that's not really going to go anywhere, and I'll zip tie it in slowly and carefully, but you can see this guy is already in place and he's not going to go anywhere. So now I'll add my media around him. And make a bit of a mess. And then just kind of tap this into place and have the media fall in around the roots of the plant and see if there's any spaces that I need to fill in. And you can see that there are some spaces here in the back, and that's typically what happens. Is behind the plant you'll get a little bit of open area, and I'll just kind of gently jam some media in there. And then maybe I'll tighten this a little bit, just a few clicks. And then I'll add my tag. And if you use liquid soluble fertilizer, that's probably it. You know, obviously you're going to want to water this right away and start getting this media wet. It'll be a little hydrophobic at first, so the water will probably just rush past, but after a few waterings the media will start to absorb the water. Now for my plants, what I like to do is I have these little baskets, and I'll add my powder powder fertilizer, and it's called Jim's Purely Organic, and it's this stuff here. You can see it's just a powder. It smells kind of yucky, but boy, I'm really excited that I found this stuff. And so I'll just take maybe for a seedling this size, I'll take about 3/4 full or 2/3 full, and I'll just squish it down. And then I close the lid. And you can see there's a little bit of powder that does fall out, but as soon as you get it wet, it turns hard and then it slowly dissolves. So I will put this back into here, kind of near the front. And then as I water this for the first time, that'll cause that powder in here to harden up and become a slow release fertilizer over time. And then of course the plant will appreciate the fertilizer and the little bit of extra water. And this guy will probably outgrow his pot probably about this time next year, and I'll just simply throw this whole thing into a larger pot. And who knows, maybe I'll make a video at that point. So what I want to do now is I'm going to do the same thing, but without narrating. I'm just going to go through the motions and show you how I do it. So again, pot, and sorry, I said I wasn't going to narrate, but you don't have to use this. You can use rocks, or you can even just use nothing. Maybe you don't have to worry about the media falling out the bottom of the pot that you're using. Roots looking pretty good. Zip tie. through the bottom, over the middle of the plant. Cinch it down. Get it fairly tight. There we go. So you see it's not going anywhere. It's stuck. Media in, find out where the holes are. It looks like there's again some media that needs to be added to the back there. Put the tag back in. Cattleya labiata, semi-alba. Should be a nice one. Oh, I want to cut these off. I really like these little shears for this type of work. Get my little basket. Fill it about 3/4 to 2/3 of the way full. Squish it down pretty hard. You can see there's still some powder that roams around, but it's mostly packed down. Put it in here. And then I'll take this whole guy and I'll water it. And that's it. This guy will go back to where he was growing just fine before, and like I said, hopefully by this time this year, this pot will be too small and I'll simply add it to a larger pot. Just kind of plunk it in and then add the media around and let the plant wander out the pot. That's it. Have a great weekend.